Welcome to the Doubles Only Tennis Podcast, where you learn the best doubles strategies to improve your game and win more matches. I'm your host, Will Bocek. This podcast, my website, and my weekly newsletter all focus on the goal of better understanding the sport of doubles and helping players like you improve faster through actionable advice that you can use in your very next match. My goal is to provide the best doubles strategy resources in the world. And to do that, I study, analyze, and work with players at every level of the game, all the way up to the ATP and WTA tours. If you enjoy this podcast, I've created doubles strategy products that go even deeper if you want to take your doubles knowledge to the next level. At the end of this episode, I'll explain more about them, or if you want to learn more now, go to thetennistribe.com/products. Here's today's episode. You're about to hear a conversation with Tracy and Robert Cash. I spoke with this doubles pair in Dallas earlier this year, and they've since increased their rankings by over 30 spots. They are now number 59 and 62 in the world. They are coming off of two titles, one in the Newport Challenger, and then most recently their first ATP title at the 250 tournament in Los Cabos. We talked about what has worked so well the last few weeks. We talked about their recent coaching change. We also discussed their rise in the doubles rankings and what it's been like going from college back in 2024 to the ATP Tour, playing in some of the biggest events in the world, including Wimbledon, where they won a match and actually had a match point against the eventual finalist. We also discussed their partnership. We talked a lot about team chemistry. We talked about advice that they would give to themselves when they started on tour about 12 to 18 months ago, and then plans for the rest of the year. And at the end, I also asked them a few questions from Twitter and Instagram. So without further delay, enjoy this conversation with the rising American doubles pair, Tracy and Robert Cash. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we have Tracy and Robert Cash on. Welcome, guys.
How's it going?
Thanks for having us.
I'm glad we could set this up. Coming off your first ATP title together down in Los Cabos, and you have won back-to-back titles actually, winning the Challenger in Newport as well. Talk a little bit about the last few weeks, and then we'll step back and look at the year overall, but talk specifically about the last few weeks. What has gone right, or what do you feel like was maybe a difference maker the last few weeks to get these two titles?
Yeah, I mean, we were, before these last two titles, we were coming off a rough couple weeks. We got bounced early in, where was it? I think Bordeaux and Birmingham. So we took a couple close first round losses, and it, gave us a lot more time to train and kind of look at the bigger picture. And then as well, we went and signed in for the Mallorca 250. We were there ready to play, and first alternate, we didn't get in. So we had a lot of time to train and tune up some new stuff, and started working with a coach at Wimbledon who started helping us out a lot more. And it's easy to tune up when given the guidance like that. So I think that was a big part of our success, just having these extra weeks of training. And, sometimes it gets tough being burnout on the road and, being so hungry, not getting into these tournaments and losing first round and, watching the people you lose to go far in the tournament. It's tough. So I think that gave us the motivation and really the hunger and drive to push through these last 2 weeks and be so dominant.
Robert, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think he covered it. Just trusting the process along the way. We had so much time to practice, so trying to stack good days on good days, as we like to say, and make incremental improvements in our games and really hone down our skills. And looking at the bigger picture, knowing that the results will come if we just keep putting in the work.
Who can you share who the new coach is that you started working with at Wimbledon?
Yeah. We it's old kind of works through Ohio State as well, but Andy Fitzell out in Germany. He's going to be with us for a while now. Great guy, and definitely taught us a lot of things. And it's obviously not easy to afford or keep a steady coach out there on the tour, but it's good to have someone in our corner that we know and trust. And yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it's paying off though with 2 titles, right? You've got to invest a little bit to get that improvement for sure. Yeah, I know Andy. Actually, I've chatted with him a few times. He's a really good guy and a smart coach, who I should probably have on the podcast at some point. Actually,
He'd be a great
maybe
guest.
yeah, maybe we'll
Guy
do
knows
that
it
soon.
all.
So I want to step back and look at kind of the year overall, and even stepping back to like last year and Neil's time at Ohio State. You won the NCAA the doubles title at Ohio State last year. You get a wild card into the U.S. Open. You won a match there, I believe. Is that right?
Mhm.
Did going into your first full year, I guess, on tour? Did you expect these sorts of results to be inside? Both of you are almost inside the top 60 at this point, this quickly, or did you have any expectations? And talk about how those kind of goal setting and expectations have changed over time as well.
Yeah, I would say coming out of college, I was very, very confident in my double skills, and I wouldn't say cocky, just confident with all the work I put in, and the results, speak for themselves. And JJ and I had an unbelievable season. Our senior year, we didn't even play the full year together. We just played. I mean, a majority of it we practiced with each other, but practiced a lot with other partners as well. So we were still trying to learn each other's games. Um, but I just had confidence and trust in ourselves and what we were taught in school at Ohio State with Ty Tucker and Justin Kronauge, that we would be able to make a splash, on the tour. I didn't really think of a timeline. I don't know if JJ thought of a timeline of how quickly we could rise through the ranks. Obviously winning the NCAA championship, getting the wild cards into Newport, U.S. Open, Cincinnati, Miami, DC, like all those opportunities were unbelievable, and they kickstarted our career, and we can't be more thankful and show enough gratitude to all those people who helped us along the way. But getting those opportunities as well, you have to make a name for yourself. You're going to play against the best players in the world, so being able to compete with them, beat some of the best players in the world, be right there with them. It's very reassuring, and because you may not have as much confidence when you're playing the guys you grew up watching on TV in the final rounds of slams and things like that. But once you get on the court with them and all the extra stuff is gone, the name, their persona or whatever it is, and you're just playing tennis and you're hanging with them, you're winning points, like that gives you a lot of confidence. And the more we have those experiences and the more confidence we have moving forward at these big events. So we're just trying to get better every day, give ourselves the best opportunities, most opportunities to get in these big events, and keep playing well and keep having fun.
What about for you, JJ? Did you have any sort of expectations coming out of college? And I know you played a little bit of singles as well, and I don't think you've played much singles recently since we spoke in Dallas, right?
No, I mean, like he said, he covered a lot of it. But I think part of the thing that made us so successful so quickly is that I don't think either of us really had major expectations, or we didn't really have these. First off, nobody close to us or in our circle has really rose through the ranks in doubles or was a current doubles player, anything like that. So we, in a way, had nobody close to us to look up to. So we didn't know where our ceiling should be. And, also we kind of just take a very lighthearted approach to everything, especially at the start of our career. He wasn't sure he was going to play pro tennis. I was more singles forward coming out of college. And, I was still playing the odd challenger here and there. We were taking 3 weeks off at a time. And every time we stepped on the court, it was like, all right, this is just like another day in the life. Let's just go have fun. We'd get called out all the time for cracking jokes and like laughing on the court, and people around us would say like, yo, like you guys need to take this a little more serious. And I'm like, okay, I actually think this is part of what makes us so good, is that, we can kind of talk crap to each other. We can crack jokes right before a deuce point. There was even a time last week right before a deuce point, we did rock, paper, scissors for who took it. Cause we were both returning well. So, no, I think part of what made us so successful and was that we, in a way, had no expectations. And, just kind of go out there and have fun and, enjoy every moment we have.
Did Andy know that y'all used rock, paper, scissors for a deuce point?
He did not. I'm not sure if that was a match or practice, but sometime in the last 2 weeks that happened.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if it did happen around him, we would probably keep it to ourselves.
I was gonna say that's kind of a bold move for a match. I would hope for my team to have a little bit of like game plan going in terms of who we should choose for the deuce point. But if that helps you play better, I say go for it. One question about that though, how do you, I guess, balance that kind of lighthearted nature, but also obviously when you're on the practice court, on the match court, you have to be working your butt off and you really have to kind of take it professional. How do you balance those two between each other?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely something we're still trying to figure out. But what was instilled from us all throughout college is when you step on the court, you give 100%. There's no other way to do it. Like Ty Tucker, Justin Kronauge, they force us to go 100% every single day when we're on the court, and that's how you get better because you gotta take every minute you're on the practice court because you don't get as much practice time at the ATP events or even the Challenger events as you would when you're back home. You've got limited time, sometimes 1 hour a day, sometimes 30 minutes. You're lucky you get 2 hours. So you have to really be focused when you're on the court and make those improvements and like just got to be focused. There's no other way around it. But at the same time, that definitely can burn you out quickly if you're just so tennis driven. Everything's tennis, tennis this, tennis that. And I feel like we do a great job, like off the court when we're in new cities, new towns, exploring, having fun, just off the court with whatever it is, staying competitive. If it's a card game, a phone game, just experiencing all the new things. So I think we've done a pretty good job of balancing the fun and the professional side of tennis. Definitely could still do better. Probably should stay a little bit more professional. But like JJ said, I think the lightheartedness has really helped us along the way. And yeah, we're still working on it, still trying to get better and more used to it.
JJ, were you gonna say something?
No. He took it out of my mouth. I was just going to say it's easy to work hard because that was what was instilled with us with Ty and Crow for 4 or 5 years, and we don't really know anything else now. So I mean, you know, a mediocre practice for us, I feel like, might be, we're still sweating buckets and going crazy on the court, and we that's kind of our floor now, and that's all because of the coaching at Ohio State and the great job they've done.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about this before until y'all just said this, but like maybe each player has, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud, like maybe each player has a tendency to like over push themselves and they need training or like help being a bit more lighthearted. And then some players might not take it seriously enough and need help the other direction, need help with like motivation and putting 100% effort in. And it sounds like both of you, maybe because of Ohio State and the way you're trained there, don't have issue with working 100% every day, but y'all want to be able to have that kind of lightheartedness so that you don't kind of have that burnout, I guess. Is that a fair way to think about it?
To add to it too, I think our chemistry is so good on and off the court. We can really hold each other accountable. So some days maybe I'm not 100% focused and being too lighthearted, and JJ will tell me and he'll push me to be better, and vice versa. If he's having a tough day or whatever it is, I'll hold him accountable. And I think we both we understand each other, where we're coming from really well, and we know we just want the best for each other and just trying to get better. So I think being able to hold each other accountable has been huge in our success.
What is the most surprising thing as you've started to like qualify for and now win these ATP events? What's been the most surprising thing about being kind of at the top level of the tour? Now you've played Wimbledon, you won a match there. You've been to obviously the US Open last year. You won last week in Los Cabos. What's been kind of the most shocking or surprising thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, For me personally, I think the most surprising thing is that, even in our first year on tour, like at the top, the margins are truly so small. I mean, you look at a team like Rinky and Pell, who just had an unbelievable tournament and final Wimbledon, and face match points in their first round against a great team. One of them went on to win the mixed, and we had a match point on them in the second round, and then um, and I don't think they've played together before, and just two great doubles players, and it surprised me how small the margins are. I mean, we back in last Cincinnati, we played Purcell and Thompson, and we were up in the breaker in the first set, and they were just coming off a grand slam. We were like, we were this close, and there's guys that we practiced with at the Challengers. We're like shocked. We're like, this guy's super good. If he could get the right partner, if he could, hone in this one more inch, easily top 20 player. And the same goes. I mean, I think the level from maybe 150 to, even the top is not much. It's very close, and everybody's good. Everybody wants to be there. It's just possibly things like the lighthearted and how to balance your training that could separate that.
Robert?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. To give him a little pushback, I think Ty back in college, he harped on us every single day. It's a saying we would say all the time how slim and tiny the margins are, and so I figured the margins were extremely thin because they are in college, and it's doubles. You're playing no ads sometimes. One shot here and there makes a difference. It's literally 1 point, 1 or 2 points every match. You can look back. So that one wasn't as surprising to me, but it's definitely been reassured in these matches how crazy thin the margins are. But one thing for me, I'd say the hardest is just with everything going on, traveling. You got a new venue all the time, all the outside stuff that comes along with playing pro tennis, organization and living out of your suitcase, new hotel, all this stuff. It's very hard to play your best every match. And when you're playing in these top events, you're playing the best players in the world, first round, second round, third round. There is no, with the margins being so slim, there is no time for you to have a bad day because you're going to lose because everybody's so good. So the biggest challenge for me is just being able to play my best every single match, and finding a way to win. If I'm not playing my best, it's very difficult because everyone's so good, and I feel like sometimes tennis, like all the outside stuff, can add some more pressure or affect your practice days leading into it, or your timing might be off or whatever it is. Just from so many little things, it's just very difficult playing your best every single match, being away from home, and all that stuff adds up into affecting your ability. So that's probably the surprised me the most.
Is there any advice, if you could like go back a year and a half, advice you would give yourself before you started to play on the pro tour that you feel like would have helped at the time?
Yeah, there's probably a lot of things I would like to tell myself a year ago today, going into my first year on tour. But to be fair, also I'm still so inexperienced, unexperienced, and have so much to learn. But just like staying organized would be the biggest thing because there's so many new things that you have to control, and you have to do it yourself. Before in college, everybody, coaching staff, sports staff would do everything for you. It's really easy. So staying organized and learning the ins and outs of like scheduling and it's just this, I don't know, being able to handle all the new experiences in new countries, like just prepare yourself and be open-minded for all that. And it's not going to be as easy as I thought it was going to be. It's going to be tough, but just trust the process and keep looking at the bigger picture when you may be down now, lost first round, not playing well, whatever it is. Just a bunch of little things like that would really go a long way.
hmm JJ, what about you? What advice would you give yourself like 12 to 18 months ago?
Yeah, I'd probably say, he covered a lot of great things. The one thing for myself I'd say is kind of implementing and starting to learn and study the game sooner, which I still don't do as well. Like, watching more film on opponents and stuff like that. as well as within myself as well. Like, practice, we couldn't really structure a practice for a while because it was 4 or 5 years of tie and crow, everything planned out to the T. And, sure, we run through these drills every day, but some of it doesn't translate. Some of it we forget. We surely can't feed as well as them. So, only recently we started to have a solidified warm up and have drills that we do every day, or if one thing's lacking we have something to lean on there for what we want to do. So I would say paying attention and learning from the older players and implementing a more structured practice earlier can benefit in the long run.
Would you don't have to go into too much detail, but what does that structure look like? Like, what does a practice look like for you today? Let's say you're prepping for a match like tomorrow or in 2 days before a tournament. What does that look like today versus what it looked like, say, 6, 12 months ago?
Yeah, I mean, today, ideally, if we played tomorrow, I'd say we're going 2 hours straight. Maybe the first hour we'll do, some short court stuff, a lot of quick hands things for, 15, 20 minutes, then kind of go through a match warm up. You're hitting cross court down the line a little bit. We've started to hit a little bit in the alley, but that's tough because we're not great at that yet. But make sure the volleys and serves are warmed up. A lot of returns, grab the basket and fire some balls at each other, make sure our hands are ready to go. And, maybe that's 45 minutes in now. And if we want something specific before we go into a set, maybe we'll work on that. But otherwise, just, it's not all about hitting as many balls as you can. It's about having precise things you need to work on, and that'll benefit you in that tournament. So usually we'll do that for the first hour. And then that second hour, grab another team, play a set, play 12 games, and then a couple tiebreakers, and try and focus on set 2 or 3 things to focus on for that set for each of us, and really try and execute that and not focus on the result. And then at the start of last year, I'd say it was just a lot of stuff we worked on coming out of college. We would go cross court for an extra 5 minutes. We'd hit through the middle for an extra 5 minutes. We'd maybe even play singles points sometimes, and it was more fitness based, and how tired and how hard can we work. And one person's in this corner, the other one's going one cross one line, running till you're gassed out. And that was great, and that's obviously helped us because I feel like we're in good shape. But picking up on these little important movements and centralizing the practice has really helped us recently.
JJ, what is Robert's best quality as a doubles partner?
Well, his volleys are obviously good, but I'd say in terms of doubles overall, I'd say his ability to, teach on the go and tell you when you're wrong. For example, if, I'm adamant about something I'm doing and I'm like, I think this is what I should have done, no problem telling me you're wrong. You did this on this volley. You're not going forward today. And that helps me a lot in the matches because it takes a little bit of the thinking of it for itself, and it gives me something to lean on. And, I don't have to be so focused on myself, and I can focus on more of the match because I know if I'm not moving my feet or I'm not being as aggressive that day, he's going to tell me right away.
Robert, how are you able to deliver that information in a constructive way? Is that just because y'all have such a close relationship at this point and you've built that trust over time, or are you careful with kind of your language and how you deliver that sort of feedback or criticism, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah. Well, I definitely have to credit JJ because I definitely don't deliver it the best a lot of the time, I guess. When I do it, I don't realize it. And then after the match, or after say something, I realize oh, I was probably a little bit of a jerk there, or it definitely came off as rude. But just I think he knows that it's coming from a good place. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just want to win, and he knows he might not hear it, but I'm definitely just as hard, if not harder, on myself when I make some mistakes. So I definitely probably a little too stern at times, but I think it's good because I don't know, that's just the type of person I am in the match. Like I'm super focused, and I realize, like we said, the margins are so slim. So I hate giving away free points or making errors that are focus dependent, and it's our fault. Like I don't want them to beat us. I don't ever want to beat ourselves. So no, I just watch a lot of tennis, and I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of doubles. So I see a lot of things on the court. Well, it's harder for me to see myself, but it's easy for me to see JJ during it from an outsider's perspective. I guess on the court, still outsider's perspective. It's not like a coach watching from afar, but I can see all of his little tendencies. We hit with each other every day, so I know all of his tendencies. So I know when he's reverting back to some old way or something like a counterintuitive of what we're trying to work on in practice. Because no, I just want the best for both of us, and I definitely when I'm in that competitive state, probably a little too stern, but I think he understands.
Yeah. That's such a good example of like team chemistry and doubles, right? Like if maybe you had a different partner who was a bit more, I don't know, sensitive or something and couldn't handle that sort of
Exactly.
feedback, or if you played with someone new that you didn't know as well, right? Like then it could deteriorate that trust and chemistry, and you wouldn't be
100%.
as good as a team. So
Yep.
that's I really, really love that example. Um, so Robert, same question for you. What is JJ's best quality as a doubles partner?
Um, this might sound, yeah, it might sound a little dumb, but it's something we like to say in college. It's just winners win, and I think JJ's like unbelievable at finding a way to win. Like he's so competitive and wants to win so bad. And it might not be the prettiest thing at times, or might not be the smartest thing at times, but he finds a way to exploit some player's weakness or find the open court or come up with a shot. And in the big moments, he's a gamer. So like on those deuce points, sometimes, I have confidence myself, but I know that this guy's going to come up with the goods every single time on a good point, on a big point. So I like to think that he just wants to win so bad he finds a way to win, and he's always in it no matter what. You can't ever count him out of a point, of a match, of a game. He's so quick and he's so scrappy, and there's so many things that go into it. But I just think he's a gamer, so that's probably one of his best attributes for sure.
Awesome. Do y'all have like 10 more minutes? I've got several other questions here.
Yeah, no problem.
That's fine.
Good.
That's true.
Any advice for playing well in tiebreakers? Y'all have played, I think, four in the last 2 weeks when you've come home with the title. So any advice for playing well in tiebreakers, either during the point or in between points? Is there anything you like to do a little bit differently than the rest of the match?
We
Yeah,
try
it's
to,
just
yeah. Go ahead,
you
Jack.
go ahead. I'll take it. No, I'm just trying to eliminate all dumb mistakes and just kind of go back to bread and butter. Like he said before, we want to lose, especially those tiebreakers, because they're beating us. We're returning to the right spot. They're coming up with an unbelievable volley. We don't want to be going for some crazy angle and then missing that shot and said, oh well, if I would have just been high percentage, they're tight as a rock too. They don't want to hit that volley. So kind of just not beating ourselves and reverting to our notes and what we've worked on and what works against a certain team. We would run maybe yeah, I think a bread and butter is a good way to describe it. And in between points, not getting too down on ourselves, and making sure that every point we play in that tiebreaker, we leave nothing on the table.
Robert?
Yeah, to add to that, definitely the biggest thing, we don't want to beat ourselves. And I mean, we obviously want to come up with the goods, but we're playing high percentage stuff all the time. But I think something recently, like just knowing you're never out of it is huge. Like you can go down a mini break or whatever it is, and it's okay because you're only playing to seven momentum, or 7 or 10, whatever. And momentum can change on a dime. And like the margins are so slim, if they can win 3 points in a row. Why can't we? So just staying with it, even if we're down, just sticking to the game plan, high percentage shots, and you never know, someone can get tight gag an easy shot or something like that, and you're right back in it. So just always staying together as a team, having good energy, and having a good attitude. Or those are the three things we focus on.
A couple questions. Well, one here from Twitter. Tennis Pig asks, you won several challengers this year, now your first ATP event. What's the difference between that challenger level and the ATP level? Is it talent, strategy, and tactics, mental, something else, a combination of all of those? How do you answer that question?
I mean, it really depends, but because some of the challengers are unbelievably stacked, and some of them are a bit weaker at times. But like we've said so many times so far in this interview, it's like the margins are so razor thin, and you're going to have to bring your best every single time, because if you don't, you're going to get beat. There's no way around it. I just think like towards the top at the ATP level, the teams are so polished, and there's not really holes in their game. They're very smart tennis players. They have a strategy. They're able to adapt probably a bit better. Things not going well that day, and they have multiple ways of winning. And I think that's something that's probably I've noticed along the way is how polished they never be themselves, and yeah, just willing to adapt, and they're so strategically sound.
Yeah, I like that word polished. That's really well said. JJ?
Yeah, I mean, I think he covered what I was going to say. I mean, just piggybacking off of teams being polished. I mean, maybe we play a team in a first round of a challenger, and we go down a mini break and like a tiebreaker, and we're the mindset's a little fresher. We're like, okay, they can make a small mistake because they don't play together as often, or we can come up with a shot here, like, and we still have a chance here. But when you're playing the top teams in the world, like we played Cash and Glasspool in Miami, and we had a tough 7-6 first set, and we were in that breaker, and I think one of us made a little tiny mistake positioning wise in the breaker, and that was one mini break, and it was gone. And they're not going to mess up their spots. They're serving high percentage. They move like a unit. And then same thing with the second set. I think we lost 6-0 or 6-1, and we were in every service game, but maybe it was 1 point where you don't get that extra inch wide on that first volley, or you're positioned 1 centimeter off, and they're finding those open gaps, and those small mistakes, they punish you so much more at the higher level.
Hmm. A couple questions from Instagram. This one's from Pepino Bambino. Why the switch from the Pure Strike to the Pure Aero 98? I think this was for you, JJ.
Yeah. I think they stopped making my racket, and it was harder to get. So I was looking to switch out of it. Saw a couple people using the Arrow that I thought I had similar game styles to. So I tried it out, tweaked the string a little bit, tweaked the racket weight a little bit, and it felt good. I think it added a lot to my serve, which I loved. Started serving a lot better with it. Um, yeah, but nothing specific. Just I could have stuck with the strike if I wanted to, but at the same time, it's always cool to have a new racket too, so that always helps.
Do you use any lead tape on your rackets? I think this was for Robert, but I guess either of you can answer it. Or
Yeah,
both.
we both use some lead tape, weighted in different areas. We have a guy back in Columbus, or who works with Ohio State. He still helps us, Chris Chang. We call him the racket master because he helps us with our rackets. So he knows what we like, and we give him feedback for everything we're feeling, and he still helps us, which is unbelievable and extremely nice of him.
Two more from Instagram. I think this is from a former teammate of yours. Describe in detail how much you loved playing tennis with Reese Yakubov. I don't know if I pronounced that last name
Yeah,
right.
there he is.
Yeah.
No, Reese was probably one of the best teammates we've ever had in college. Great friend of ours. Tennis was great with him, but I'd say playing golf with him is better because we like to beat him, and he gets a little sad. So
that was his next question. Who out of your former teammates was the best at golf?
I don't know if we say
Justin
Crow.
Kronauge.
Crow, yeah, Crow. He wasn't a teammate; he was a coach. I think he beat Reese last time. Someone's gonna have to verify that, but
Awesome. All right, two more questions here. Goals for the rest of 2025 and then also 2026 plans.
Yeah, for me at least, we've kind of always talked about winning one of every single tournament, which, hopefully gets done in 2025, but if not, perfect one to carry over into 2026. So, I mean, we've won a 7,500, 125, 175, 250 now. So for me, at least, the goal would be to next knock off that 500 and that 1,000 win and do everything we can to start building that and get our ranking to a spot where we're consistently, making the cuts in these 1,000 level tournaments that are so tough to get into.
Robert, any goals for you?
yeah, I mean, I don't want to put any specific goals down that are so set in stone because really we don't know where our ceiling is and we don't know what our floor is, but we just want to keep getting better and not worry less about the results and more about the process and things like that. But like he said, we want to keep improving our ranking to get into those ATP 1000 events that are so tough to get into, the ATP 500 events that are pretty tough to get into as well, depending on the time in the calendar that is. But just so we have all those opportunities to play against the best players in the world and make a name for ourselves and competing at the highest level. So yeah, we just keep getting better. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so tough on the ATP side to get into those 1000s. And I feel like everybody I'd speak to outside of the top like 40 or 50 has that same goal. Like, we got to get to where we're in those 1000s because then we can, it becomes a bit easier to stay there because you're in
For
there
sure.
and you have those points to attain. So the last question for y'all. I don't think I asked you this in Dallas. How can we make doubles more popular?
Well, I think there's lots of ways because doubles really resonates with like the average tennis player. Most tennis players play doubles. That's what they're used to, and that's how they know the game. So I think if marketed right, I mean, a lot of a lot of people can relate to it. It's high intensity, fast paced, kind of like pickleball, how that's growing so quick. I think just marketed in the right way, it definitely can make a jump. I was watching the DC Open earlier today, and I saw a completely packed crowd with Kyrgios and Monfils. I know they're singles guys, but on the doubles court, like people are wanting to watch the doubles match. So it just marketed kind of more and just
Mhm.
more is better. So yeah, just keep trying to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we can still claim Curious as a doubles guy too, though, since
Yeah,
his only Grand
exactly.
Slam title is in doubles. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think singles gets to claim him for themselves. JJ, what about you? Anything to add?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think there needs to be anything done in terms of format or anything. I think that could kind of taint the image of what doubles is, if you go to a shorter set or make up some funky rules. So I do think it also comes straight down to the marketing. And I don't know good in what ways to implement that doesn't hurt the singles guys as well. But, what I'd love to see one week is, for example, take the weeks in last Los Cabos last week. The doubles didn't get on center court until the last day, and the doubles didn't were always before the singles. And I mean, obviously, you got to give priority to the singles guys because they're the guys that are selling most of the tickets. But just one week, I'd like to see, how much the crowd were to be there if you maybe take a semifinal match and you play the singles first and then you throw a doubles and then you throw singles and you end with a doubles and you're sandwiching these quote unquote more marketable bigger matches and you throw the doubles in between them. That would draw more fans and give doubles the primetime spot for one tournament. And I just want to see what would happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's one of those momentum things too. And, DC had doubles on the stadium today with, I think Venus was playing. And yeah, it's one of those things that it's a combination of all of it, right? But I definitely agree with you if we can get more doubles on those main stadiums, and some of the people who are buying tickets might be buying tickets for the singles, but maybe they see some of the doubles like before or after and they become doubles fans,
Yeah.
that exposure is huge for sure.
I think another way that could be great, just based off last week, was we were even looking. All of our friends, family, fans were looking where to find our doubles matches from last week on tennis. They weren't on tennis TV. I think people had to go on DraftKings and watch on a little 3-inch screen to be able to watch our matches up until the finals. So I mean, some more streaming with I don't know what media outlet would do it, but whoever's streaming the singles, just get the doubles at the 250s and the 500s as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the ATP 250s is the one that is really hard to find.
Right.
Yeah, I think 500 is a little easier, but I'm not positive. I always forget until I try to start watching, and then I realize it's not on TV. So
yeah, I mean, our friends always tell us, they're like,
yeah,
we love the challengers because it's so easy to find you guys and see how to watch you guys. But you guys are playing in the bigger events, and it gets almost tougher to watch.
yeah, it's kind of backwards there. Awesome, guys. Well, this was a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll do it again at some point. Good luck the rest of the season, and yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all definitely in New York, if not maybe Cincinnati.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Doubles Only podcast. If you're interested in diving deeper into any topics I discuss, I've created doubles strategy products that allow me to bring you more podcasts and other doubles content without relying on paid ads. I have ebooks and courses that help you make better strategic decisions during matches and become the smartest player on the court. Go to thetennistribe.com/products to learn more. You can also join my free weekly doubles strategy newsletter that includes video lessons and more on our homepage. If you want to connect, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or email me directly, will@thetennistribe.com.